roads, water, gas, different industries. The fertilizer industries wants gas subsidies. Textile industry, yesterday you saw an ad, wants power subsidies, and so on and so forth. What we need to do is, whether these laws apply and provide these facilities in a non-discriminatory manner. Now that is a question for the Supreme Court. Article 25 of the Constitution. That look how the same resource is being allocated. This is unfair. And the result is it creates a distortion in the economy. The market is not allowed to operate and so forth. So, from the point of view of the Supreme Court, that is one of the priorities that we look at, whether the law is answering constitutional mandates. Another constitutional mandate is integrity. Integrity not just in public authorities. Recently, I took a chance at writing a judgment on a criminal matter, and I introduced these concept of commercial integrity. There must be integrity in business also. What does the law do to promote commercial integrity? You don't want watchdogs or cameras watching over you. There has to be a conscience that directs a person to do the right thing, to not cheat, to not commit fraud. You will be surprised. A lot of our cases arising from National Accountability Board Bureau references have to do with cheating with the public by sponsors of housing estates. They collect money from the public, they don't have the land, and if they have the land, they have occupied the land wrongly, unlawfully from government territory, and you discover that government land is being used for a private housing society, and this is happening all over the, I would say at least in the province of Punjab and the province of Sindh. So, commercial integrity. That is a principle I think the courts of law should apply. Number two, good business requires what you've been talking about, transparent regulation. Our regulatory frameworks should be transparent. All the notifications, all the circulars, all this, as we just spoke and heard Mr. Jameel telling us about AI and so forth, the very first thing is the relevant information should be accessible to everyone. Do you know, a great deal of problems between the private businessman and the public sector, which means the government, take place because the regulatory regime is not known to the public. Taxes are imposed, custom duties are imposed. Suddenly you discover that you purchased, entered into a import agreement, paid the money when the tax was, let's say, X%. When it arrives, suddenly they will impose a regulatory duty, it becomes X plus Y% and changes the whole scenario for the importer. So at the end of the day, it's not just corporate regulation which will promote business. We need to improve the government interaction and accountability to the businessman. That is fundamental. Why? Because you need certainty of circumstance, of environment, for a businessman to come and take a decision. When there is no certainty, people only take short-term decisions. Nobody plans a 30-year project. In Pakistan, the IPPs came and made investments because the government of Pakistan guaranteed a 30-year tariff. That's why they came on a long-term investment. So you need that certainty for the businessman in Pakistan. You need fair treatment under tax laws. People have declared money, but for business purposes they need to keep a fund outside Pakistan. There may be reasons, we don't know what business reasons there are, but the law allows people to have foreign currency accounts abroad. I'm talking about companies. Recently, the taxed money, fully taxed money, lying in a foreign currency account abroad has been subjected to a further tax. Now, there must be some reason for it. We will find out that reason. And the court has an obligation to apply the law. We do not suspend laws just like that. There has to be a constitutional violation to suspend a law. So we directed deposit in court, 50% deposit with the department. But when we hear this, I think the only ground they have, which may be a good ground when it is heard, I should not actually talk about it. But because it is, I just wanted to tell you that you see, surprises come. Don't surprise a businessman if you want business to thrive in this country. And particularly the tax regime. The tax regime must be reliable, consistent, because you can't cut the tree if you're basically looking for the fruit. So that is the second thing, or rather the third thing. At the end of the day, for the business environment to be conducive, the investor has to have protection. And that investor basically needs or should be assured of a level playing field. If you have industries where there are monopolies, then you will not find the big investor coming in, competing with monopolies. Similarly, the shareholder has to be protected. The majority shareholders, we have so much experience of all these winding up petitions. The majority shareholder exploits the minority shareholder. We need protection for the minority shareholder. And then the small shareholder on the stock exchange also. That's where your work in the SECP comes, in protecting their rights, the investors' rights, the shareholders, minority shareholders' rights, and the what would you call, the shareholder on the stock exchange is, the 100 shareholders, shares, small shareholders. At the same time, what I'm implying over here is that dishonesty committed by the management or the majority shareholders must be curtailed. And you know who the other beneficiary is? It's the revenue authorities. So you need to bring integrity in the system. Within the corporate system, this is what you have to do as SCCP, as a regulator. And outside the corporate system, you have to influence policy. You have to tell the government, the state, through its different departments, how they may be disturbing the environment. Do you know, if you look back into history, our governments used to prepare 5-year economic programs. That was because it provided certainty. Today we don't do that. And because we deal with such issues and consider different options available to solve a problem, we think about what ought to be done to improve the situation, ameliorate the situation, and create a better environment. It is fundamentally important, ladies and gentlemen, that we strengthen all our regulatory institutions. So many of our regulatory bodies lack members or chairman. Recently, we were dealing with a telecom body which did not, according to the law under which it is regulated, constitute the requisite quorum. And so many months had passed. Nobody was bothered. That should not happen. That's one thing. A second thing, of course, is that let me move to the next point, because there are a few other suggestions I have, but I don't think that this is the forum to share them. But the point of importance is that we have to create the requisite environment, and for that there are a number of things which are essential for their environment to prosper, that must be fed into the system. Regulatory bodies is one, constitutional bodies is another. I mean, the Election Commission of Pakistan is a constitutional body. We have to, as courts of law, support the Election Commission of Pakistan. There is another body, constitutional body, whose services are underused, and he has jurisdiction all over the country. He can go into the province, he can go into the federation. Accounts of the federation, I'm talking about the Auditor General of Pakistan. We have to make him strong so that he can go and check the accounts on his own. Because whenever you have an issue about accountability, it goes into the accounts. You find out 3 years later that so much money was taken away. Finally, in all these bodies that I talk about, which includes the regulatory bodies, talk about the courts, it's not just the numbers that matter in determining capacity. It also depends on skill. All of us need training. For instance, I will confess immediately, I need training in IT. I'm not good at IT. So I can maybe operate the computer, but that's about all. All these other things, that these vistas and horizons that have come up. ये क्या नाम है? Chat GP क्या नाम है? I mean, I believe it is excellent, but I haven't ventured into it. But some of my younger colleagues are doing it. So we need to build capacity. I don't know if I sounded relevant, but I shared some personal thoughts with you on this subject. I'm grateful to be here. Pleasure meeting you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. अभी आई थिंक
अरे सर आपने
मेरे ख्याल से मेरी तरफ से जैसे जलानी साहब ने आपका शुक्रिया करें, इनसे बेहतर शुक्रिया फॉर यू कमिंग हियर. दिस हैज बीन अनप्रेसिडेंटेड एक्सपीरियंस फॉर अस, फॉर द रेगुलेटर. मैं इन दी एंड जैसे जलानी साहब को कहूँगा कि हमारी तरफ से आपका शुक्रिया अदा करें, बिकॉज जो और स्पेशली जो हमारे हाई कोर्ट के चीफ जस्टिस साहिबान ने हमसे यू नो वी सेंड देम अ लेटर, ऑल ऑफ देम ऑफिशियली, सबकी परमिशन से वी आर हियर. इट हैज बीन
Comments were made by all the stakeholders, the lawyers, the businessmen, and the judges. The issues which engaged us in the last 2 days. These are very useful comments. Few words. I would thank you once again on behalf of all the participants and all the stakeholders for having found time to come and grace the occasion. Thank you very much.